What's up, guys? We're back. This is Beat the Line Broadcast. We're doing another first look video just because there's nothing this week. It's Thanksgiving. Not a lot of content out there. I know people want to listen to something, so we'll give you something to listen to before we do the full breakdown next week. It's for UFC 310. Prop, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for filling in.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime.
So what do you think of this card at first look, just in the general? I think it's going to be a pretty good card, honestly.
I think it's a banger card to end the year. I can't wait for Pantoja versus Asakura, man. I just can't wait to see this guy fight. And I can't wait to see how Rakhmanov fights 5 rounds against Garry. Prelims are stacked too, man. Every fight's good, so I'm excited, man.
So these are the cards we're looking at here. So we'll take a look. So the first fight we have is Kenny Nchukwu versus Brzeski. I could share that tab here. Guys, let's look at the odds real quick. Odds for this one, it looks like Kennedy is minus 500 or 450, and Brzeski is plus 335. This is a clear Kennedy spot, I think. I don't think there's any real way to bet him right now. Maybe you could see how the inside the distance line looks, but at that, I don't know. I kind of think this is just a last minute put together. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd like Kennedy here. Obviously, it's not really a hot take. I like how he kind of came in on short notice. Kind of feels like he can get the fight done inside the distance. I didn't think Brzeski getting knocked out against McParkin was a pretty good look. But I really did like the body work that Kennedy did against Chris Barnett. I feel like if he could do body work here against Brzeski, he could definitely accumulate him and get him out of here. So I just feel like the good old fashioned on Kennedy 2-3 just to reduce that minus 500 or try to live bet him after round 1 to reduce that minus 500 money line price.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really too high on Brzeski. Is he the Polish guy that used to look jacked and now he's fat? Like he used to look like he was on all the steroids, or am I thinking of a different guy?
Yeah, when he came on Contender Series and then he tested positive.
Yep, that's it exactly. So yeah, I think they're just gonna show him the door, let Kennedy get another finish to get him another leg up, and then they're gonna probably cut him. Honestly, if you look at his losses, they're all let's take a look. Let's see. That was his last one. McParkin. He beat Walter Walker, fraud. Waldo knocked him out. Carl Williams beat him. Martin Boudet beat him. So, yeah, he's on his way out at this rate. We won't waste much time there. Next fight is Clay the Carpenter Guida versus Chase Hooper. Odds in these two guys, Clay Guida plus 600, Chase Hooper minus 1,000. Never in 2024 would I think we would have gotten a Chase Hooper minus 1,000 line. Yeah, he's looked better recently. After subbing Borschev, he actually looked good decent on the feet there. Jordan Levitt was also a good look. The Fury was kind of a bum. Didn't really take much of that. This is 2 years ago is when I think we really saw the eclipse to a villain for Chase Hooper, where he really started putting his shit together. He moved up a weight class, and now he's kind of cooking. Clay Guida, lost to Joaquim Silva, lost to Rafa Garcia, lost to Curio Place, and now I guess a win over Scott Holtzman. Guida, what is he, 42? He's looking kind of old. You can never really count him out. He's pretty durable, but I think if there's a way to play it, I'm probably just going to look for a Chase Hooper sub prop. Clay Guida is always kind of getting subbed with his wrestling. I don't really think he's going to get knocked out. I don't think Chase Hooper's quite there yet on the feet. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to see what Hooper's sub is, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was around like minus 175, minus 200, man, because this guy Guida is just always getting submitted, man. I mean, heel hook, rear naked choke, I mean, arm bar, basically anything you could think of. And Hooper has all of that in his back pocket. But I want to see what the ground and pound would be, man, because, I mean, Hooper's ground and pound recently, man, it's improved.
Good. Like a lot of elbows.
From the Felipe Corrales fight up to the Borschev fight, man, it's just improved so much. I mean, maybe he gets a cut stoppage here against Guida, man, because we know Guida's just not going to, give up, man. It really might just be a cut stoppage because now he could use 12-6 elbows, so it should really be really interesting to see Chase Hooper's ground and pound with 12-6 elbows.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good angle, too. We'll just see what the line looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not going to be bad. I wonder if they're going to give us an over 2.5 or an under 2.5 or not. That wouldn't be a bad look at it either, honestly, if you think he gets to finish early on. That could be a decent look, but I don't think we'll get those till next Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Following fight is Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. these two guys, Mike Chiesa, Max Griffin, honestly, he's 39, but he's been a little bit more active. He just beat Jeremiah Wells with split decision. I bet him there. He lost to Michael Morales. Michael Morales walked through Neil Magny recently. Obviously, didn't walk through Max Griffin. Actually went to a decision. He beat up Tim Means, stopped the takedowns there. Neil Magny, split decision. I mean, this is Neil Magny, 3 years ago. A little bit different of a guy. Beat Carlos Condit. Looking at Chiesa, right? Lost to Holland, lost to Brady, lost to Luque, beat Neil Magny, and obviously we saw the sub over, Tony Ferguson, which doesn't really say much. I think that was at 170 also. So I don't know if there's much to say from that point. Got Chiesa anywhere from plus 110 to plus 120. Griffin anywhere from minus 139 to minus 145. Personally, I think this is I'm probably going to play Max Griffin here, even though he's older. I just think Chase has already got a desk job. He's looking onwards and outwards, even though he's 37. If he can't get the takedowns on Max Griffin, which Max Griffin's takedown defense has looked relatively decent as of late, if it stays on the feet, I think he'll beat up Chiesa, get Chiesa to quit. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree. Max Griffin's power in round 1 in his last 5 fights. I mean, he's knocked down Neil Magny. He knocked down Tim Means in round 1. Then he knocked him down in round 2. And he landed some really good shots against Michael Morales as well and had him actually wobbled in round 1. And, I mean, in the Jeremiah Wells fight, I actually thought Griffin fought a well fight, but I didn't think he won the fight. But I thought he did what he had to do to stay away from his power. But I think Griffin's takedown defense has definitely looked good. The only problem I have is in the Magny fight. He looked good in round 1, but then when round 3 came, when Magny was able to get him up against the fence, he had his back and back mount, and he almost submitted him, but Magny lost position. If Michael Chiesa gets your back, he's not losing that position at all, man. He's going to choke you out. And Griffin just being 2-0 to the sub, man, I know he's never been submitted, but he hasn't faced a grappler like Chiesa and hasn't gotten his back taken against anyone like Chiesa. And I just feel like Chiesa, you just watch Chiesa getting hit the shots recently. He hasn't been reacting well at all. I didn't like the Holland look. He had Holland in a very deep double. And once he couldn't get him down, Holland was feigning an uppercut. And then he just threw a flying knee up the middle. And then Chiesa just ended up getting Darce choked. I just think both guys are very live for a finish. I feel like both guys have advantages where they don't want to be. And I just think Chiesa can get the sub or Griffin can get the knockout. So I want to see what Griffin KO 1 is going to be. And hopefully the fight doesn't go to decision. We'll open at a pretty good price or the under 2.5 as well. Because that's what I'll be looking at here.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that under idea. I think both guys can find their way to a finish. Yeah, I don't hate that at all, actually. Let's go on to the next one. We're kind of just breezing through this. I mean, some of these fights are kind of straightforward, it seems like. Still got to do, obviously it's the first look video, still got to do a little more tape and research, look into the props and stuff, but this one's pretty straightforward. Next fight's a good one. I know we kind of are on the same page here. Yeah. Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. Odds on these two gentlemen, you get Cody Durden anywhere from plus 128 to plus 140. You get Joshua Van anywhere from minus 150 to minus 170. Let you go first here. What do you think? Do you think Cody Durden just implements a wrestling game plan here, gets takedowns on Josh Van and beats him up? Or do you think the boxing prevails for Josh Van?
Yeah, I think Durden's going to take him down. I think he could definitely exploit Van on the mat. But the reason why I really actually pulled the trigger on Durden at plus 140 is his striking has looked so much better recently. I mean,
got more pop too.
Yeah, man. I mean, just watch the Bruno Silva fight, man. I had Bruno Silva in that fight. I had his money line and had him by knockout. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Bruno Silva money line was not a good bet at all there. I mean, Durden was kicking his ass up until he got caught with that uppercut. I don't think Josh Van has that one punch power uppercut to knock him out like that. And Cody Durden, man, Durden's got some pop in his hands, man. When you watch Joshua Van, and when he gets people up against the fence and he gets cocky, he gets cracked. And his chin, to me, isn't really that great, man. I mean, He got knocked out against Charles Johnson. He got knocked down. I think he got knocked down against Kevin Borjas early. And he got and Felipe Bonas beat him in a round 1 as well and was landing a lot of leg kicks and was taking him down as well.
Edgar Charles is also rocking him a bunch in this last fight, was knocking him around a little bit. I don't think they counted any knockdowns, but he was definitely getting cracked.
In the first round, he hit him with a really good right hand, But like even in the third round, you're watching Van get takedowns. Like he has him in top position, and then he gets up and he pulls for a heel hook, and then he loses position, and then he's on bottom again. I just feel like Van just makes very like he just makes questionable fight IQ decisions too. And you're watching Durden, like he out wrestled Charles Johnson. Like Charles Johnson is, I just think, a much better defensive wrestler than Josh Van at this stage. Like Josh Van just started practicing wrestling 6 months before he came into the UFC, man. And you're looking who Durden's training with, man. He's training with Evloev. He's training with Bruno Silva now again. I mean, like he just has. I just feel like he has the corner man and everything, man. And it's like you're watching the gym with Josh Van. It's like Daniel Pineda now just retired. It's like who is the best fighter in that gym that Josh Van's getting reps in there with, man?
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
I can't really name it. So I just like all the trajectory for Durden. I know he's 11 years older, but I think he's hungry, man. I feel like he's gonna prove something here. I feel like he wants a top 15 guy. He wasn't even fighting bad against who's the Russian guy again? I forgot. Tiger. He was fighting good against Tiger, but Tiger wrestled him. So and Josh Van's not gonna wrestle him. So I like this price on Durden, man. I'm pretty confident in him here, man. Like I think he should be the favorite.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that line. I remember that line. I was on a flight back from New Orleans when that line dropped. I think it was a crazy number. Like I had plus 205 on my phone, and then it loaded again, and it was plus 165. Then it loaded again. I was like, I'm gonna wait, tape it, and then I'll go back and look. I got plus 142 on BetOnline.
Yeah,
I think the size difference too. Cody Durden is gonna be a lot bigger than Van is. Van is like he's not even a 125er, honestly. He could be like a 115er. He's super small. I think Cody Durden's going to show that here. He's going to be a lot more physical. Like you said, I think on the feet, Josh Van. Also, let's talk about round one, Josh Van. I've been betting Josh Van in his last fight, probably the fight before that, and the fight before that. He pretty much always drops round one and then picks up as the fight goes on. If you give Cody Durden round one and he implements round two, you got to finish him in round three. And Cody does get tired at times, but I don't think that's going to be much of an issue here. I think with the wrestling, it'll be good. Like we said, we've been seeing Josh Van. He got knocked out pretty bad against Charles Johnson, came right back, was getting bobbled around by Edgar Chairez. So I think Durden on the feet could probably get his respect with the hands and the power and then work his wrestling. So I agree with you there.
I did see a recent interview with Van. He supposedly had 2 bad knees going into the Chairez fight. Like I saw him saying in an interview. And it's like he said he shouldn't have not taken the fight, but like he felt pressure to take the fight, so he fought injured. And now he's coming back in December, and I'm like, he's coming back a little quick if he had 2 bad knees.
Yeah,
just interesting.
You already got 2 fights in. You got knocked out pretty bad in one of them. I don't know why. But he's 23 at the end of the day, so 2 bad knees at 23 is not really a good look. I don't know. Next fight here we got is this is the Chris Weidman-Anders fight. It's at 195 now. It was on MSG, got moved because Anders got food poisoning. Now he's on this card. Weidman's plus 100, Anders minus 120. I originally had Chris Weidman plus 130 in the first matchup at 185. I love that bet. I think Weidman would get the wrestling going. Weidman looked, okay on the feet against Bruno Silva outside of, a million eye pokes. I got robbed of, I think I had Weidman by KO like plus 2,000 or plus 1,800, something like that. They gave it to me, and then they took the money out of the account when it got ruled a technical decision. Besides the point, I don't know, 195 a week or 2 later, I don't really think there's any value at like a minus 110 pick 'em. If we can get Weidman plus 120 again, I'll probably jump on that side. I just don't know how I feel about it at 195. I think, after making the weight, all that, it's messing with Weidman's head. Now he's arguing to get some money back because they didn't pay him his money for showing or something. So, this is all over the place. It almost wants me to just stay completely off. But, looking at it, I think if Weidman, cage wrestles, gets him up against the cage, clinches him, he'll beat Anders. But Anders can knock him out on the feet. Anders has got that crazy explosive power. So if Anders throws a punch and catches him, he can catch Weidman. But I think it's a clear Weidman spot here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I actually just put a bet on Chris Weidman before I came on the show for 1 unit at plus 100. I honestly think Weidman should be around minus 135, minus 140 here, man. He's 7-1 to decision versus Anders 6-6 to decision. Yeah. And I just don't see Eric Anders knocking out Chris Weidman. I know Anders is explosive, but I just don't see him sparking Chris Weidman. I think Bruno Silva has more power, especially in round 1 than Eric Anders. And he was hitting him with some good shots. And I know we could say, oh, well, Bruno Silva's been on the decline. He's looked like crap recently. But the dude still does pack power in round 1. Obviously, I mean, the dude has 20 knockouts in round 1. And Weidman was doing good in those striking exchanges. I mean, he was landing front kicks to the body. I liked his left hook as well. He had a good straight right hand in that fight. And I just don't think Eric Anders is going to be able to get his wrestling off against Weidman. Like, if he can't get his wrestling off and he's not knocking him out and he's 6-6 to decision versus Weidman 7-1 to decision, and you just look at the overall competition that Weidman's faced in his career compared to the competition that Anders has faced, like, this should be a clear spot for Weidman all day, even Weidman being 40. And one other note here is Eric Anders fights as a southpaw. He's not going to have to worry about outside calf kicks like he did against Brad Tavares. So that's just one less thing to worry about on the Chris Weidman side. So I like Chris Weidman here. I mean, even the Akhmedov fight, man, he got taken down in round 2, but he out-wrestled Akhmedov in the 3rd round. Like, Akhmedov was tired, and we've seen Eric Anders fade in round 3. And just against Jamie Pickett last outing, man, he looked horrible. And he looked horrible. Getting knocked down in that round 1 and barely out-wrestling him in that round 2 and 3.
Jamie Pickett,
Yeah.
I agree.
As a minus 550 favorite, setting you up to finish that fight, man. Now he's a favorite against Weidman. Like, I really think Anders should be a slight underdog here. Like, I think this is a disrespectful line for Weidman, even with the catchweight, man. So I'm backing up my Long Island guy, man. I got it.
I know. I was on him too. I know. What a shame. All right, man. Next fight we have here is it's going to be Brian Battle versus Randy Brown. On a lot of these two gentlemen, you can get a Battle anywhere from -200 to -260. You get Randy Brown anywhere from +185 to +196. I mean, I'm a huge Brian Battle guy. I was on him against Giuseppe. I've been a Brian Battle guy for a while. I think he's kind of now he's the butcher. He's got that aura. That post-fight post-fight interview he did was one of the best you've ever seen for being a heel, in France, especially after finishing a French fighter. You're never going to lose never going to lose a fist fight to a French guy. I love that. Only thing you hear is a little different is he's fighting Randy Brown. Looking at both these gentlemen, right? Randy Brown, he looked good against EZD. He knocked out Muslim Salikov, who just almost probably had a highlight KO of the year on Song. I was on Song and Song by KO at +600, but hey, Muslim came out and looked great. Beat Wellington Turman, lost to Jack Delmond, no JDM, no real loss there. Beat Chinaldo. Battle beat Kevin Giuseppe, but Kevin Giuseppe really didn't look like himself, if I'm being honest, when I was looking back on tapes. Beating up Angelusa till the eye poke. AJ Fletcher was an easy win. AJ Fletcher is getting subbed and losing on regional scenes now. Gabe Green, that was a real quick early knockout. That's actually the only time I faded Brian Battle. And I learned a very quick lesson there. The Renat, all he did was get grappled. I think the only thing about Battle is if you go look at his striking differential, he gets hit a lot. And that's kind of my thing with Randy Brown is I think Randy Brown is going to be able to, kind of outbox him with the jab and the long reach and kind of just point fight him and touch him up. It gets to the clinch, going to lean Brian Battle. We know Randy Brown's chin isn't the best, but looking at just I'm trying to find the strike absorbed right now. Yeah, so strikes absorb he's at 4.14. So he's absorbing one less strike than he gives out. 4.4 is a lot. So I think if Randy can keep it at range, it'll be good. Brian Battle's probably going to look to wrestle here. If I remember correctly, can't remember who it was on tape with Randy Brown. I think it was it Herman or who was the one who was shooting a bunch of takedowns and he was stopping them? Was it Elijah Zaleski?
I think so. Or it might have been Turman too, because Turman was shooting takedowns too.
Yeah, and he was stopping them pretty well. So if he can stop Brian Battle's takedown and keeps up on the feet and pieces him up, I could see him winning a decision here, honestly. So don't get me wrong, I'm a Brian Battle guy. I want to see Brian Battle win, but I think -200 is a little too wide here. I mean, +196 on Randy Brown feels pretty good, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The only thing is that I am the worst bettor of all time on Brian Battle fights. So I am just not even going to put any of my money near this fight unless I get a good price on the over. But then Brian Battle might finish Randy Brown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I like Brian Battle, man. I mean, just watching him from the tough and then watching him now, I mean, his improvement is it's just been like really great to watch, man. He used to be the Pooh Bear, and now he's the Butcher, dropping those promos, as you said. It's awesome to watch, man. But yeah, I mean, Randy Brown is definitely the biggest step up in competition. I feel like Randy can frustrate Battle early, but if Randy can't get his jab going and Battle's able to get around him and just put the pressure on him, Battle might be able to break Randy Brown, man. I mean, you watched how Jack was able to just get in his face and went one little check hook, and then Randy Brown did a little tumble saw and then got submitted. So as you said, his chin isn't the greatest either. So I do like the over here. I feel like stylistically though, this can honestly be a split decision. Like I see like both guys are just gonna pinpoint each other. So yeah, I want to see what the over opens at. Hopefully it's like a solid parlay piece, because I don't think it's gonna be at a pick'em price.
I could agree with that. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of wait and see. I gotta look into one more thing before I bet it, but I might find myself on Randy Brown plus 200 here. I think we're seeing a big price on Battle because of recency bias, right? He showed up and did a great performance, but like you said, it's a pretty big step up. So I don't know. I think this is gonna be a tougher fight than people think, and with plus 200 on Randy Brown, I feel like you can't really go wrong, especially if it goes to a split. Next fight, Mosvar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Line on these two gentlemen. Sterling is anywhere from plus 205 to plus 230. You can get Evloev anywhere from minus 255 to minus 280. I'll go first here. I haven't really did a lot of tape into this one yet, honestly, but just looking at it right off the bat, I just think this. Sorry if that's like loud. I haven't seen a line this wide, I think, in a while. And when I say that, I mean it's just kind of wide in the sense that, like, if we go look at Evloev, right, all his fights on Allen was a closer fight, right? It came down to round 3, and there were some questionable knees there. The Lopez is aging well. Lopez gave almost trying to get in on a sub there. That was close. Dan Ige, I think he beat up Dan Ige pretty good, but if you get Dan Ige's back, right, it's kind of over. Hakeem, if I remember correctly, knocked down Evloev, right?
Yeah, he knocked him down round 1, I think.
And then Nick Lentz is a split decision. So, like, Evloev wins and finds a way to win, but it always seems to be, like, relatively close. And I don't understand how he covers minus 260 against a guy in Sterling, which, his last fight was pretty boring against Cater, who's a way better striker than Evloev. But he was able to grapple him the whole time. Obviously, the grappling and wrestling of Evloev is a lot better, but I think the grappling of Sterling is better than the grappling of Evloev's, not the wrestling standpoint, just the grappling. Plus, I think Sterling's build here at 145 is just a little bit different, right? And, like, he's a big guy. He's got he can grab, he reaches around. If he gets his back, it could be interesting. I don't know. I feel like Sterling is just getting a little disrespected here. I do think Evloev is supposed to be the favorite. First time the fight was booked, I got minus 145 on Evloev, so I'm definitely not playing minus 280 now. But I think at these lines, like plus 230 to plus 250 on Aljamain Sterling, like, why not just put a unit there and take the shot? I feel like it's going to be a relatively close fight. I'll also be keeping an eye on the plus 3.5 line, because I could definitely see a split here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the line on Aljo is definitely interesting, especially because of the striking. Like, if Evloev can't out wrestle Aljo, like, how do you rate this fight on the feet, man? Like, do you think it's competitive, or do you think it's like?
The Funk Master, right? I think his striking's very weird. So, like, I think he can get the striking going. Evloev doesn't have this crazy knockout power that we have to worry about with Sterling, because obviously he got knocked out by Sugar 2 fights ago. But I don't know. I feel like Evloev is very, like, bread and butter, jabs, like, everything, keeps everything straight. There's nothing, like, he doesn't do anything flashy or anything, like, outstanding. And like you said, Sterling can strike, bro. He was a 4-time champion. So, like, on the feet, it's going to be close. It just seems like this line is just way too wide.
Yeah, it definitely does. I definitely need to dig into this fight more. But as you said, man, I mean, the Aljo spread should be interesting. I mean, because now DraftKings offers plus 5.5, plus 7.5 spreads. So, I mean, hell, if he's plus 240, they might offer a pretty good line on plus 5.5. So it'll be interesting to see it after the tapes.
So I think this is a 3-rounder, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you could do plus 5.5 on a 3-round fight.
Yep.
I didn't even know
DraftKings. Yeah, DraftKings gave plus 7.5 now too.
Oh wow. Okay, I usually just play 3.5. So I don't know. We got to see what those get, but I think this is gonna be a close fight. I may even do like half a unit on the money line and then a full unit on the spread. keeps it closer, wins, double cash.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next fight here. Next fight is Themba Gorimbo versus Vicente Luque. Interesting matchup with Themba Gorimbo. Obviously, we saw this shit with Nick Diaz where he was like on drugs or who knows what's going on. Hopefully, he's doing better now, but that was some wild shit. Line on these two gentlemen, you can get Vicente Luque anywhere from plus 155 to plus 168, and then you get Gorimbo anywhere from minus 180 to minus 200. What do you think here?
Yeah, I honestly kind of agree with the line, honestly. Like, and here's why. Like, I just feel like the last fight for Luque, like giving up to Buckley, was just not a good look, man. Like, he wasn't even fighting bad in the round 1 with the striking and then the round 2, but it's like he pulled guard and Buckley just started hammer fisting him, and he didn't even try to get up. Like, he wasn't even trying an armbar. He wasn't even trying a triangle. Like, he almost just accepted that he lost. I will say, though, I like Luque's patience against RDA. I think his counter cage wrestling has definitely gotten better. He even attempted a standing head and arm choke against RDA too, which I thought was a little bit crazy. And as we know with Vicente, man, this guy's Darce game, his head front choke series, it's no joke. And we've seen Gorimbo. He's been submitted twice out of his 4 losses, finished in 3 out of his 4 losses. And I've seen on tape, man, like Gorimbo puts his neck in bad spots. He's tired, man, when he's tired and he doesn't get the wrestling off and he feels like he's getting beaten on the feet, he will shoot a lousy takedown. And one thing with Vicente Luque, man, if this guy can Darce choke Michael Chiesa, he could damn well Darce choke Themba Gorimbo. Yeah. So I just feel like the way to play this is to play Luque by sub, man. Like, even you watch the RDA fight closely, like even in the clinch when he had him up on the fence, like the way how AJ Fletcher landed that elbow and had Gorimbo shoot into a guillotine, as soon as it got him in mount, he tapped right away. Like, he didn't even try to fight. He tapped. Like, if Luque lands the elbow on Gorimbo and Gorimbo falls and he's in the Darce, he's tapping right away, man. So I want to see what this Luque sub prop is, man. It's the only thing I'm going to play on this fight. I agree with Themba's money line. I think he hits harder. I think he's the side. I do, but this sub prop is going to be interesting, man. I really hope they put it at a bad price.
Yeah.
So
I like that angle too. I mean, I was there in Atlantic City when Luque kind of looked like he, I don't know, gave up against Buckley.
I was there too, man. That was a terrible look.
Yeah, you were. That's right. We met up. But dude, it was I don't know, man. He just didn't look like himself in there. Like you said, the RDA win did look good. I was honestly on Luque against Buckley because I thought it would be a little bit better of a performance. Yeah. But I don't know. They obviously want Themba Gorimbo to keep winning. I think this is kind of like the setup that they want. I like that angle at the prop at the sub prop. I'm gonna go back in the tapes and take a look at that from that standpoint. But I like that. I mean, do you think there's any equity in like a Gorimbo inside the distance here?
Yeah. I mean, even it could be possible. I mean, I don't know if Gorimbo subs Luque because he couldn't sub Price or he couldn't sub Sato. But, I mean, Chiesa had his back very quickly and tried to sub him, but he couldn't even submit him in a rear naked choke. I feel like it would have to be a knockout on the feet, if anything, and then, like, Luque just puts his hands up like he did against Buckley.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
Because Gorimbo, I will say, man, like, even, like, you watch Gorimbo in his last fight against Price, he did throw really hard in round 1. Like, he was going for it. He does go for the KO, man. So, the under will be interesting here, too, because I think Gorimbo can. I think if Gorimbo knocks him out, it'll be early. I don't think it will be late.
Yeah, I also think it'll be kind of like the Buckley one where, he probably takes him down and gets a ground and pound finish. I'm not even sure if knocking him out straight standing up on the feet, but like I said, I got to look into this one still. Next fight, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. This line is crazy too. Reyes anywhere from minus 330 to minus 360. Anthony Smith anywhere from plus 275 to plus 240. I mean, this is a setup spot for Dominic Reyes. Smith looks horrible. We saw the Khalil Roundtree one punch knockout, right? We watched him lose to Roman Dolidze as well. The Victor Petrino, that one was cool. That was cool to see that come back, but that's just because Vitor is just kind of dumb, honestly. It wasn't even like that. Look at all these L's all of a sudden, and now he comes back, and that was a huge knockout over Justin.
I was so happy, man.
He
But I
actually
had
looked
the
great
over
too.
there. I had the over. I was pissed, but I was happy for Reyes, man.
Yeah, me too. I agree. And I think that's like kind of a resurgence for him. Like he said in his interviews afterwards, he's like, this got me my confidence back. Like, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
back in the right headspace. And I think if he comes off with another knockout off of Anthony Smith, he's kind of back. Like, you look, he's only 34 years old at light heavyweight. So, like, he's been around and fought the best. He gave John Jones one of the closest fights he's had. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty clear spot for him. Wonder what they're going to line the ITD at. It's probably going to be similar to his money line or maybe a little bit shy of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I still gotta tape this one, but the line definitely does seem wide, like pre-tape. But I mean, honestly, after tape, I wouldn't even be shocked if I really like Dom Reyes here, because Anthony Smith has just looked washed. I mean, the Delete fight, I just remember the Delete fight just like being like, why is this fight on a main card pay-per-view? Why is this on a main card? Like I just didn't really like it. And I know Delete knocked him down in that fight, and I know he hurt him pretty bad. I think it was in round 2, if I'm remembering, because I didn't do any tape. I know he dropped him bad, but then Anthony Smith, he gets dropped bad, but then he somehow survives. Like, he did it against Johnny Walker. I think he got dropped against Johnny Walker, and he did it against Roman Dolidze. And I think even in round 1, like, Roundtree hurt him bad, and he like survived up until round 3. Like, Smith is pretty damn tough, so maybe an over here, man. Like, I might try to see if an over will be good too, because it wouldn't shock me if Reyes just beat him by decision. I don't think Anthony Smith is going to knock out Dominic Reyes. I mean, that would shock me.
I don't think so. I think if there's a finish, it probably comes from the Reyes side. I'd be interested.
Yeah.
We think we get a 2.5 or a 1.5 line.
I don't know. Maybe right. A 2.5, but they might open a 1.5 at like minus 185 maybe at first, and it gets smacked up to like 260.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can see it. I could see it.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next fight. Next fight's another good one. We saw this guy in Atlantic City too. It is Nate Train versus Doo Ho Choi. Yeah, this is honestly, I think this could be fight of the night. I really do. I taped this fight. If you want to go back and tape and have a good time, go back and watch him versus Cub Swanson. This fight, it was 7 years ago, but it was a fucking banger of a fight. I mean, both of these guys always put on good fight. Like, if you go back and watch it was a fight against David Onama where he was getting his ass beat, and Nate Train cooked him late. It was like that's when I became a Nate Train fan. I mean, line on these two gentlemen, pretty close. Doo Ho Choi is getting money coming in on him now. Now he's minus or plus 115 to plus 136. You can get Nate Landwehr anywhere from minus 140 to minus 150. I don't know, man. I kind of want to lean. I don't know. This is a tough one. After taping it, when I was looking at it, I kind of want to see what Doo Ho Choi's KO prop's going to be. I only say that because Nate Landwehr gets hit a lot. He'll get hurt and he'll get rocked. Don't get me wrong. He survives. But Doo Ho Choi's kind of got that power where he puts people, when he hits people, he puts them out. Obviously, Landwehr, 36. Doo Ho Choi is only 33. Looking at the experience side, I mean, Landwehr usually likes to implement some wrestling at some points just to get, the gas tanks going and everything. They're both stand and bang regardless. But I think if anyone shoots a takedown, it's going to be Landwehr. And I think Doo Ho Choi can stop the takedowns. So I'm going to lean Doo Ho Choi here, especially at plus odds. Looking at the I think this Kyle Nelson, what was this, a draw? I think he kind of got robbed there. I was on Doo Ho Choi there. That was something weird with the ref, right? He took a point.
Yeah, he took a point on Choi, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I remember that. I mean, the knockout on Algeo was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, this is a banger, man. This is probably my favorite fight of the night. I'm just so glad like they're opening up the main card with this. I mean, it's about time we're getting up like a crazy main card opener. Man, if I had to pick a winner like pre-tape, maybe Landwehr, but as you said, like the Choi KO prop is interesting too because Landwehr is just so damn hittable and he has just so much wear and tear on him. And Choi is very explosive early. Like, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, right before I was taping Choi, I still have to finish the tape, but I was just watching a Charles Jourdain fight before, man. And Jourdain is really durable, and he had Jourdain running for his life in that round one, man. Jourdain didn't know what to do. It's like he saw a ghost. It's like he couldn't get anything off. Yeah. And it's like that's where Landwehr struggles, man, in round one. but he just got a round 1 finish in his last fight in Atlantic City when we were there. So
Yep.
I still got to tape this fight more. I can't really talk about it a lot, but maybe an under. But this is going to be fight of the night.
I think this is probably going to be fight of the night, honestly.
Yeah,
really
this is going to be awesome, man.
All right, let's look into our next fight. This fight makes literally no sense to me. Some of these fights don't make sense in this card. This one is going to be Bryce Mitchell versus Gracie. I think this is just a clear setup spot to get Bryce back in the win column and probably get Gracie out of the UFC. I think that's kind of the goal here. Yeah. Bryce is anywhere from -520 to -600. Actually, he's -650 now, and Gracie's +400. I mean, Gracie looks totally fucking lost on the feet. I'm not sure if you went back and taped. I looked into the Charles Jourdain fight. He was just beating the brakes off.
I was there live. That was horrible, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Where was this fight? Was this?
The one was the Jourdain fight?
Yeah.
I think that was the Pereira Prohaska card. That was when Diego Lopez made his debut on.
Oh, yeah. That was in MSG, right?
Yes, because I was there, and I remember the fans they were saying a lot of stuff about Gracie, man.
Yeah, I mean, because he was just butt scooting and getting knocked down and laying there and getting stood back up. Listen, I don't think Bryce Mitchell's going to run to the ground against Gracie. I think he could absolutely out-wrestle him. I think he could probably out-jiu-jitsu him too if he wanted to. I don't think he'll find a sub. But honestly, I think Bryce Mitchell could probably find – it's probably going to be a decision win, would be honest. But I could see Bryce Mitchell finding a KO here. Because he'll actually go to the ground with Gracie and try and find like a ground and pound KO. I don't think Gracie's ever been knocked out before, though.
No. I mean, the Cubs Watson fight, I know he ate he was a human punching bag in that fight.
Yeah, 0-2 to decisions, 5-0 to subs. Yeah, dude, I think a Bryce Mitchell decision is probably going to be a pretty good bet here.
Yeah.
I mean, the inside maybe, but like we just saw him come off of a fucking scary knockout. I'm a huge Bryce Mitchell guy. He took some good time off. He looks like he's in a good headspace. They're trying to get him back in the mix. He's 30. I like Bryce Mitchell's striking. It's getting better and better. Didn't look that way against Emmett as much.
But good against Ige, man.
Dude, he looked great against Ige. Yeah. Let's talk about – people always shit on it against Ilia Topuria. He was doing fine against Ilia Topuria until he got rocked. Yeah, he didn't do bad at all. And that's – obviously, we know what Ilia Topuria is now. Yeah. So, I don't know. Bryce Mitchell –
he took him down, too, at the end of round 1.
Yeah, it's pretty square, but yeah, I think Bryce Mitchell by decision seems like it'd probably be a pretty fair play, but it's probably gonna be like -185.
Might be a free square. Hopefully, if it's -120 range, I honestly probably will put 1.2 units on it. I don't think he knocks out or decision. I don't think he knocks out or stops Gracie.
No, to be honest. So yeah, I like that. I like the decision play too. Yeah. You got anything different here? Do you have anything on the breakdown or?
No, not really anything different at all. I completely agree with everything you said. We can move on.
Yeah. So this right here, rematch we got is Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I mean, this is a rematch. We're seeing a new Alexander Volkov where he put on a little bit more size, and now he's working in a lot of more of his grappling. Gane, we know what we saw with John Jones. It was kind of like that sub in a minute and a half or something like that. He fought Sergey Spivak. I actually got a tip that Sergey Spivak didn't even train for that fight, and he was
wow.
Yeah, he didn't train for that fight because he was actually getting married like the following month. So I got word from someone that he wasn't even training. So I think we put 8 units on Ciryl Gane money line at like -285, I want to say. Just because like I got that tip and I just knew it was going to happen, and it was exactly what he did. He walked right in there and knocked him right out, made it quick and easy. Let me see if the line closed on that. Yeah, he was -191, bro. I got it like -250, I think, or -230 around there. But I don't know. I think this fight plays out a lot differently here. I think after seeing what happened with John Jones and now we see Volkov actually wrestling, I think he's probably going to implement that here and probably try and wrestle Ciryl Gane because on the feet, we kind of know how that one goes, right? Yeah. So I think, honestly, he implements a grappling game plan. Lining these two guys, Gane is -260 to -310. Volkov's anywhere from +240 to +270. I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of like Gane here. I don't really think Volkov gets his wrestling off. I think he's gonna try. He might try, but I feel like this is a Gane spot. I don't know if I'm willing to lay -300 on him pre-tape, but if I really do like him after tapes, I probably will end up parlaying him. And the reason why I say is like I don't really want to lay -300 is because I mean if Volkov isn't getting knocked out against Pavlovich. I do not think Gane is going to knock him out, honestly. I just think it will be a decision. And just laying minus 300 on a decision fighter, I just don't really think it's the best idea. So I'll try to see what his decision prop is. Hopefully his decision prop's good money. So I'll try to play that. I know it's pretty square, but I don't think Volkov's ever getting knocked out in the UFC ever again, man. I don't think it's ever happening. I think Derek Lewis will be the only person to ever do it.
Yeah, I agree. That was a crazy knockout too.
Yeah.
Next fight's the co-main event. It's 5 rounds. We got Garry versus Shavkat Rakhmanov. The one time the UFC doesn't do a interim title is the time that they should, which is this fight. This should be for an interim title, but for some reason it's not. Line on these two gentlemen, Shavkat's anywhere from minus 350 to minus 415, and Gary's plus 250 to plus 310 on Bovada, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that line just seems wide to me. I'm on Garry plus 250, just because looking at it, like we've seen, like Jeff Neal was doing well on the feet against Shavkat. Like he actually made him look human here, I think, until the sub. Gary's going to be a lot faster, a lot sharper, a lot more precise. So if it's that striking range, you got to favor Garry. I think if he gets into the wrestling, the clinch, or the grappling, you probably got to favor Shavkat, even though Gary's went to shoot box for the past 2 camps, got his grappling going, as we saw against MVP. I was listening to an interview with Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert was like, listen, if it ends by sub, it's going to be Shavkat. If it ends by KO, it's going to be Garry. And he was a guy who was at the gym with them when they were younger. So he's probably got to see these guys fight a bunch of times. I think the most important part is going to be the clinch. If we get this into the clinch, Shavkat is going to probably cover his price tag and look pretty good. But if it's at range the whole time and Shavkat can't get his wrestling going, like Garry could pick him apart and win this fight. So I got a unit on plus 250 on Garry. I'm going to add on another half unit if he keeps getting out of line. Because, I mean, plus 310 already is kind of crazy. But if he gets to plus 350, I'm adding a half a unit again. That's probably my price point. What do you think for this co-main event?
Yeah. I remember I was watching the recent fight card with my friends, and I was telling them, I'm like, I think I might plant my flag with Garry, and they're like, you're out of your mind. I mean, really? And I'm like, I just think he could be a frustrating matchup for Rakhmanov, man. As you said, like if he can't take him down and he's just using his footwork and he keeps jabbing him up and he keeps hitting him with power shots, like I think Garry can put him away in the 4th round. Just like just literally having him very frustrated. And he can't, like, I really like Garry striking. Like, the only thing that scares me here, I haven't taped this fight yet at all, is, as you said, if Rakhmanov gets him down, I think the advantage on the mat is Rakhmanov all day, even knowing that Garry has went to shoot the box tape for the last 2 camps. But this price is crazy, man. I mean, these two guys are undefeated, and Garry in his last couple of fights has been priced around like minus 400. So getting this price on him, if he wins this fight, he's not going to look plus 300. But if Rakhmanov wins this fight, it's like, yeah, well, he'll look minus 450, but you laid minus 450 on it. So
yeah, and he has to find the finish to cover that price tag too, right?
100%, man. He hasn't even won a decision yet in his career, and you got to.
I was just scrolling back right now. He's never been outside of the 3rd round.
That's crazy, man.
It's like,
I know Garry has fought a 5-round fight in Cage Warriors, right?
Yeah, he has.
Right?
Yep, in his regional scenes. Yep, his regional. Also, if you see his jiu-jitsu in the regional scenes,
it's not bad. Too. Yeah, no, it's
shout
not
out
bad
Dravi, for that one. But yeah, no, he's been pretty far. Let me see if we find. Let's see, round 1, round 2, split decision, decision. Yeah, he's been a decision like 3 times in Cage Warriors, and then. Actually, in the UFC, he's been to decision for 3 rounds. Yeah, dude, Garry's got to be the side here. The line's just going to be too wide.
Yeah,
I mean, at this price, if he dies, he dies. Plus 310 is crazy. If we get even, I think people will. Parlay boys will come in and play Shavkat.
They probably will.
Wider. Just because people also hate Garry and they want to just get in on the Shavkat hype.
He might have won some fans back, though, with this Colby thing, man, though, because everyone's turning out like Colby now. Everyone's wanting Buckley to flatline Colby.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to be there. I'm going to Tampa for that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I want to see. I think the workup's going to be kind of crazy for that fight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it should be a good time. It's a good card to close out the year, too.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right, let's go into our main event here. Main event is Andre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. Line on these two gentlemen, Pantoja is minus 235 to minus 260. Sakura's anywhere from plus 210 or plus 220 to plus 200. Okay, so I did a little bit of tapes into this one. I want to bet Asakura. I know the UFC wants Asakura to win this one. I think they're kind of over Pantoja, honestly. Asakura has 2 million subs on YouTube. He's a big star over there. They don't really have a Japanese champion. I don't think they ever have. So they obviously want him to win. It's kind of crazy. This fight's at 125. This will be Kai Asakura's, if I believe it's his first time ever dropping down to 125. Yes. I don't think it's going to be too big of a difference, but that's kind of crazy to drop down to a new weight class and go right for the belt. And when's the last time we saw like a prospect come into the UFC and go right to the belt? Like, it's kind of crazy. From like tapes, Asakura is a crazy athlete. He's long, he's physical, like he's good at stopping takedowns. He's BJJ like isn't like tremendous. Obviously, it's nothing compared to Pantoja's. He's probably never fought a grappler to the extent of Pantoja. But if he stops the takedowns, and this is on the feet, we know Pantoja gets hit a lot. We know Pantoja, he doesn't really get rocked, but he gets kind of like stunned, but he's got like a chin of steel for some reason. But this guy, like we said, Kai Asakura is a bigger dude coming down in weight. He's an explosive striker. He's got crazy kicks, crazy knees, crazy elbows, everything he throws. My only like part where I kind of am a little offset on the Asakura side is most of his finishes, if you watch his finishes, are finishes you can't do in the UFC, whether it be soccer kicks, head stomps, like all knees to grounded opponents, like all the shit you could do in Ryzen, you can't do that here. So it takes a lot, like all his finishing equity from his career over there, he loses a lot of that coming here with the rule set. So I think it could be interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, I'm just watching all his finishes, and this guy's like soccer kicking people on the ground on one knee, and I'm like, man, if this fight ends by DQ, I would not be shocked, man. For him just doing some crazy shit. But I mean, everyone's saying like he's coming down to 125, but this might affect his chin, man. Like he's been knocked out 3 times, and just Pantoja. I mean, this guy's boxing has just gotten so much better. And what he did in the Brandon Moreno fight, I mean, he had Brandon Moreno on wobbly legs in that fight, man.
He throws heavy, bro. He throws heavy, too.
I want to see a fight to end by KO in this fight, man. I think someone's going to get served here. I think someone's going to get knocked out. I don't think Pantoja is going to submit Asakura. I don't. I think it's going to be a knockout, dude. I think Pantoja is going to try to prove a point, man. Like, I think what you said is true. Like, I don't think the UFC wants him to be champ. I don't think he drew great ratings to that Brazil card. So maybe they're just like, we need to bring in someone in this division. I think their plan was to really have Tyra beat Royval and bring Tyra at the end of the year, and that didn't work out. So they had to come up with another plan, and this is their plan. So it's a great fight. I mean, this pay-per-view is going to sell because of Asakura, basically. But I mean, Pantoja, man. This guy will fight anyone, man. He's one of my favorite champs, though, man. Like he will fight anyone. He does not care. He fought Usyk with all the momentum in the world. Now he's fighting with Asakura. He has everything to lose, Pantoja. Asakura has nothing to lose coming in to take this fight. So, but I really do think like Asakura can knock out Pantoja for a first time ever. And I mean, we've seen Asakura knocked out 3 times. It wouldn't shock me he got knocked out here against Pantoja, man. We've seen Pantoja knock people out. So, I think my KO might be interesting.
It's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a banger, honestly. It's going to be an awesome card all in all. All right, that's the card. That's pretty much everything for our first look. I'm going to just give you guys real quick. People usually like the VSINs breakdowns. They want to see it. It's all DraftKings numbers, though. It doesn't really include BetOnline and all these other books. Just looking at it, this line's not real, obviously. This is Dom Reyes, Anthony Smith. So 82% of the money or 82% of the bets are on Reyes, 61% of the money. Kind of makes sense, I guess, because people are going to start parlaying him more. Max Griffin, 54% of the bets, 61% of the money. Like I said, I don't hate the Max Griffin side. Those numbers aren't crazy, but it seems relatively public, even though 46% of the bets and 39% of the money is on Chiesa. That's interesting. Chase Hooper, clear parlay piece, 85 a piece. No one's counting Clay Guida in here. Weidman is Weidman's 61-71, which is good. It was honestly, this is better than it was on the last fight because I had him last fight and I was looking into that.
Yeah.
Brzeski, obviously everyone's parlaying Kennedy and Chuckle here, 88% of the bets, 84% of the money. Josh Van, Cody Durden. Look at this. Money's coming in on, the money's coming in on Cody Durden. That's why the line's coming down. And honestly, you look at that, that's kind of the sharper side. All the public's kind of on Van because they always love betting Van. If you want to, by the way, guys, if you want a Josh Van side, wait till after round 1. He loses round 1 at a high clip and you get a live entry. Also, guys like us who bet Cody Durden, if we don't like how the fight's going or we think it's going weird, we could always bet off of Cody Durden. So it's like it gives you a good opportunity to bet against or for Van. This is fake line. Brian Battle, 86-78. So like no one's really on the Randy Brown side. I kind of look for things like that. This is totally this is people on Gorimbo, 77% of the bets, but 51% of the money. So it's looking like Luque is going to turn into being a pretty sharp bet on the money line. This is a good Nate. Like you said, you like Nate Train. Nate Train looks like a pretty good bet here. 70% of the bets, 90% of the money. Not a lot of money on Juhoi Choi here. Only 11% of the money is on it. Kron Gracie, Bryce Mitchell, obviously clear another parlay leg here. This is interesting to me. This is like so lopsided that a lot of money is coming in on Evloev, which is not surprising, I guess. But I kind of like Sterling at these odds. Could be a value loser, though. We know how favorites do on big pay-per-view cards. The Volkov, this is a little alarming too, right? Having 64% of the money, but 76% of the bets means the bigger bettors are on Volkov, it seems. Also, guys, these lines, although they look like they're telling you a story, they don't always mean something. This is just something fun to look at. I don't even know why I clicked that. So that's, I guess, if you want to bet it. Yeah, look at this. 86%, 90%. No one's on Ian Garry. I'm on Ian Garry. So we'll see. And then this one, 83%, 68%. So these lines are all a little kind of crooked here. We want to look at next card. This is what next card looks like. These always look weird like this early because no one's really bet ahead. But if you look, like people bet the favorite down, bet Joel Alvarez down. But that's it, guys.
I see a lot of money was coming in on Amanda Ribas against Mackenzie Dern. I'm
thinking about Ribas, honestly. I really am. Wow, she's minus 162.
She got hammered, man. She was like pick 'em. Dude, I
was looking at minus 110 like a week ago. I was talking to Key 3 about it. I was like, yo, Key, I'm probably going to bet Ribas here.
Might have been Key, man.
But, dude, minus 162. Dern's going to be the side at big plus odds.
That's what I was,
That's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. She's coming off a divorce, too. Or she just broke up with Tricoli or whatever his name is.
She's going to come in pissed off.
Mike Johnson, that looks pretty good, that number breakdown. But who knows? He's 40 years old now.
Marco Zertianez. Oh wow! That fight was next week too.
I love Daniel Marcos there. This should be a little concerning, right, from a number standpoint. But I love Daniel Marcos in that.
He's gonna leg kick him.
Kick the shit out of him. He didn't adjust it that quick. And even if he did adjust his stance, that's just gonna throw off his boxing. So I'm gonna be on Daniel Marcos. But yeah, that's everything. Prop. Thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad to break it down, and I mean, let's make some money. We got 2 more cards left to clean up this year for UFC. So that's the show, guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus. Prop, again, thank you for joining me. You got anything? You got a Dub Club or a Telegram or a Discord? What do you got going on now? Where can people find your bets if they want them?
So you guys could just follow me on X at MMA_propaholic. I got my Discord linked is there as well with my Action Network profile. I do football, NBA, and UFC as well. I'm permanently back, so I'll be posting all my bets on X and posting my breakdowns as well. And I'll be doing a bunch of content as well, doing a bunch of short YouTube reels, breaking down each fight and doing breakdowns. So thank you for having me on, Peg, and let's make some money, everybody. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. You guys can find my Telegram at the link below. If you want free picks, see what I'm taking when I take them, I post it all right there. All right, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Peace.